Hi everyone, I've decided to give noise a go. I've been inspired by Himaraj, Queen's Gambit, and the fact that noise crushes a Wayland deck. I've talked about this before, so it's inspired me to try a noise deck myself to see whether I can make it work. I know that noise Anarch decks in general are the hardest to construct and play, simply because they need so many pieces assembled to become effective. So I began by installing 2 viruses immediately and running. I think this was my fundamental mistake. I was tunnel vision into making this my play. Install Data Sucker, Himaraj, and make 2 runs to get 2 tokens on each. I completely neglected the fact that he forgot to ice up R&D, or rather he chose not to ice up R&D. I should have installed the medium instead. Having a medium with 2 tokens looming over the table is a very scary notion, so that's what I should have done. So now my opportunity is gone, and I'm relegated to just running HQ for tokens, which is not too bad, especially since my opening hand has a Mimic. So now I can run with impunity. And as I expected, the unprotected card was a Jackson, so my Queen's Gambit worked out. Queen's Gambit is great because for a single card draw, you get 6 credits, which is fantastic. I then tried to make a run of R&D. I could have installed Medium, but I chose not to because that would leave me with 1 credit, which wouldn't be enough to break any trash program subroutines that I encounter. Yes, I want to have enough credits to break through whatever ice I see. So anyway, I spent my last click to try to siege the remote, and it turned out to be a chump, so not going in there. A very dangerous server. I draw into a York, but not much money to play it. I try R&D once again. I'll keep trying until he resists the ice on R&D. Then I can possibly parasite it. With 2 clicks left, it makes sense to Queen's Gambit for even more money. Yes, I think Queen's Gambit is a very good card in Anarch decks. It costs no influence, and Anarch decks tend to lack card draw, which is really lamentable. But otherwise, it's so being able to make the most out of every single card you draw is a very important thing. So now what I did was, seeing that he had, I believe, 3 cards in hand to start with, I milled 2 cards with Himaraj, ran HQ, and then ran Archives, forcing his Jackson out. In retrospect, I really think Doppelganger will be very useful for noise. The ability to check Archives again and again is very powerful to make sure that Jackson gets used up anytime there's an agenda inside Archives. So yes, the problem with noise right now is that it is very, very hard to play against replicating perfection. Anytime I want to check a remote, it costs me an extra click, which I usually don't wish to spend. Even though I'm earning Data Sucker and Himaraj tokens, it's not really worth my time. He tried to sneak a Profiteering in a remote server. I called his bluff on that. And I installed Medium, but forgot that I was going over the memory limit. Was I? Yes, because I Parasite installed, of course. Yes, running regularly into Archives is very important. You want to get the agendas when you mill them, or at least force the Jacksons out. But that is not feasible most of the time. It's really a waste of time to run Archives most of the time. So what ends up happening is that there will be a bunch of agendas in Archives, and Jackson stays on the table for some time before getting used. And when Jackson is used, 3 cards go back into R&D. If 3 agendas go back into R&D, you just wasted a lot of mills. So I think all in all, if there's one thing I've learned from this, it's that you cannot rely on noise mills to win the game. It's just not going to happen. the dream of building up 7 agenda points in archives and making one run to scoop them all. It's not gonna work. So yes, I need to make the noises ability a secondary effect that will help me accelerate the removal of Jackson Howards from the table. It shouldn't be something I'm exclusively relying on, which is what I'm doing now. Because the only way I'm going to get agendas right now is through archive milling. It seems that he has nothing in HQ of worth my time. I've seen this new katana a lot of times already, and that's the only card in his hand right now. His remote is very secure. His R&D is very, very secure, and there's the only way I can get agendas right now is through milling archives. That is how I got my Gila hands. So it's a very weak play. It's very marginal, especially with the existence of Jackson Howard. You cannot play like this. This is not how you play noise. Good noise players will as I said, yes, will leverage on the ability as a secondary effect to get rid of Jackson Howards faster. What I should be doing is to install my Corroder and York and just pass through all his servers, because there isn't a single piece of ice. I believe all the ice in his deck are all cheap, the rest low strength ice. The Anak Fix Breaker Sweep by itself can take care of every single thing except for Chump, which I only need 1 data sucker token for. That is what I should have done. But instead, I'm wasting my time installing things like the Source, and Aesop's is helping. I need to get rid of the Imp, but I'm dilly-dallying. I think it's because I didn't draw into my Grimoire, which was a huge pity since there are 3 in the deck. I haven't drawn into a single Grimoire, which means that if I install both the Corroder and York, I need to give up the medium or the data sucker, and there's no way I'm going to give out data sucker. So the medium has to go, which is very bad for my gameplay. So I see the Chum, and I could install a York to get past it, but that would cost 5 credits, and that is a significant investment, so I threw the Parasite down instead. This was another big mistake. You don't want to waste Parasites on such pilly ice. Eventually, it will cost me 0 credits in Breakthrough Chum, so why am I even bothering about it? I should be bothering about bigger ice that actually cost money to get through, like Surugi, although I haven't seen any Surugis yet. But yeah, I was just taking the short-term cheap option. I ran archives again, and thanks to virus milling, I got another card out of it, another agenda. But yes, this really isn't the way to go. It will take me forever before I'll be able to mill 7 points out of archives. I see a clone chip. That's pretty good, but right now I need economy. I've run out of Queen's Gambits, so Katie Jones goes on table. Meanwhile, he scores a Brain Trust and gets ready to score another agenda. I figure there's no way I can challenge that right now with 0 credits, nothing on KT, and nothing worth trashing with Aesop's. I need to stall the game for one more turn. He's not a match point anyway. So I destroy Chum and run into his Wall of Thorns. See, this is what I should be using my Parasite on, not a Pilly Chum. So now I lost the 2 most important cards in my hand. Essentially the 2 most important cards. I lost the Clone Chip, which will allow me to recur Parasites for killing the Wall of Thorns, and I lost my Corroder, so now I can't even get into R&D. It's pretty much game over. Now the only thing I can do is to focus on his scoring remote, because thankfully I'm playing against Jinteki, which means they cannot fast advance. So right now I'm just trying to pull at whatever I can pull at. I managed to pass through HQ because there's only a rotor turret guarding it, and I have a Mimic out. That's why Mimic is so important. Thereafter, see, I'm stuck. There's nothing I can do. There's nothing useful I can do right now. I can't even play Mature Gamble because I'm so poor. Alright, so it installs the game-winning agenda into the remote. He's on 6 points. I need to challenge the remote, otherwise I'll lose next turn. So turn 1, take money off KT. Turn 2, install the York blindly. Turn 3, run archives to deactivate Replicating Perfection's ability. That's why it's so annoying. And finally, challenge the remote. First ice, Chump. That goes. Second ice, not a Wall of Taunts. Not a Wall of Taunts. Of course, Chimera. Where's the clone chip when I need it? Not there. So the server goes through, and he scores last agenda to win the game. Yes, this is an example of how not to play noise. I have been very, very horrible at playing Enoch decks, and this is no exception. I've tried my hand at making a wizard deck. I've tried my hand at making a Reina Roja deck based on credit denial, and now I'm trying a noise deck with the new shiny tools that Enochs have, and I'm failing spectacularly. This is against a Jinteki, the weakest Corp faction in the game, and I couldn't even make a dent in their servers. My deck takes way too long to set up, and yeah, I just played it very poorly. Maybe if you have some suggestions on how to build or play Enoch decks, I would really appreciate it. Because as it stands, it looks like I have to stick to criminals and shapers, which I seem to be better at. Thanks for watching. I don't think this was very educational, but hopefully you've enjoyed it. See you around.